Alright guys, so now that I have the front end put back together, I was going to take you guys with me and head down to Mexico for a little test drive. But as I started it up, hang on, we got a car driving by here. But as I started up and let it run for a little while, I noticed the cooling fan was not kicking on again, and it has been in the upper 90s, so it's definitely warm out. Sure enough, that the coolant started to steam and come off of the reservoir here, so we have a cooling system issue. And then right afterwards, we got an engine light with a code saying that there is a bad or faulty engine oil temperature sensor, which is this guy right here. So last night I got this taken out of the car, went down to the dealership and got a replacement. So we'll go ahead and screw this into the side of the oil pan, and then we'll top off the fluid and see if that takes care of our issues. If not, then we probably have a bare wire somewhere from the accident, so we'll have to go in and just comb through everything and see if we can find anything wrong. But before we do that, let's go ahead and replace this. Alright guys, so I'm not sure how well this is going to come out, but I'll try not to get oil all over the camera. This right here, this rag is where the plug or the sensor connects. Let's go ahead and get that screwed in here. I wonder if these GoPros are oil resistant. They're water resistant, right? There it goes. Now it started. Alright. Clean this up real quick here. Let's go ahead and tighten her up. Really hope this fixes our issues. For some reason I still think there's going to be an issue with the cooling fan. So we'll see. Maybe we'll get lucky. Okay, so now that we have the sensor in place, we're going to go ahead and top off the oil. We had this issue before I changed the oil, but oh well. Go ahead and just collected the oil that was in there, because it was freshly changed. Okay, let's check this oil over real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get this off the jacks. Then we'll turn it over and see what happens. See if we get any engine codes or whatnot. And maybe we can go for a little drive. Alright, so oil's good. We can get it off the jacks. Nice and easy. I'm going to put all the jacks away and move this truck out of the way, and then we'll go ahead and pull this out of the garage and let it run and see what happens. Alright guys, so it's another hot day. It's probably in the mid-90s at least, so we're going to go ahead and start this up. I'm going to let it run a little bit, get the engine warmed up, see if the fan comes on. And if everything looks good, then we'll go for a drive. But I definitely don't want to get out and get overheated and have to get towed home. So let's see what happens. Well guys, we got it running. Looks like we do have the engine light still, so that's not very promising. I mean, the engine sounds good, but when it gets warmed up, if the fan doesn't come on, that's where we start running into problems. So let's let this run for a little bit, and then I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I went ahead and got my blue driver scan tool, and let's get over here where you can see it better. So I'm getting the same code, P0197, for that sensor. So I'm going to go ahead and reset everything, make sure it's not picking up old data, and then we'll shut it off, turn it back on, let it run, and see if the engine light comes back up. Alright, so it's clearing now. Okay guys, so I've shut off the car, I just turned it back on, engine light came back on again, so problem is not fixed yet, so my guess is the sensor was fine, but we have a bare wire somewhere, so we'll have to go back and backtrack and see where the problem is. And also, I don't hear the cooling fan coming on either, and now the car is warmed up enough to where it should be kicking on. So I'm gonna monitor this for a little bit, but we'll probably put this back in the garage and keep on working at it. Alright guys, so after kind of thinking this over during lunch and also discussing it with the smartest man I know, my dad, I think it's something to do with this fuse box of why the fan isn't working and why we're having the issues we're having. Because remember right, in a few videos ago when I first put the fan and all the mechanical parts back into the front of the car, I had the same issue with the fan, and when I replaced the fuses, that seemed to do the trick. So I'm thinking that there's a loose wire or loose connection somewhere in the box that goes to the coolant system. So I'm going to take this apart and kind of look it over and see if we can find the problem. Alright, so guys, this may be the problem, I don't know. But I remember when we were switching out these plastic wire connectors, I switching out one that had a burnt mark on it with this one that had a burnt mark on it, and I'm thinking that this is the issue, because the pin or the metal connector isn't able to go up all the way into this bracket, which is also where the relays connect for the cooling fans. I think this is the issue, which also on the bottom of the fuse box, that's the pin right here. It's probably hard to see on camera, but it's melted, burnt a little bit. So thankfully I actually have one more fuse box that I ordered off eBay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this one on there. And I don't know what to do about this connector because I couldn't find it. I may just have to go into the dealership and see what they could do. But in the meantime, I'll go ahead and switch over to the top part of the fuse box. Alright guys, so I went ahead and switched out the fuse box again and got the battery hooked back up. I'll go ahead and start this up and see how it runs. Alright, so looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and move my truck out of the way again, and we'll pull it outside and see if the problem is fixed. Alright guys, so I got the car pulled back out of the garage, let it run for a little bit, grabbed the engine a little bit to heat the engine up, and the engine light came back on, same problem. Cooling fan never came back on. So I'm gonna call it quit for the night, do some research. Probably in the morning, go down to the dealership and see if I can get one of those gray brackets for the wires to connect into that goes in the bottom of the fuse box. So that way, hopefully I can eliminate that issue, and maybe that'll fix the issue. But anyway, it's a big bummer. I was really wanting to get this going and start driving it and finish up paint work and buff the rest of it out, but it is what it is. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time at Casey's Garage. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. That does help build the channel. And who knows, if we can get to 1,000 subscribers before we let this car go, we might do a build on it and add some things to it, but we'll have to see. But anyway, we'll catch you next time. Peace.